very far. Very far. And now when we talk in terms of Pentecost, Peter was not preaching to Gentiles. Actually, there was a lot of argument whether the zero-year church should even waste time to preach to the Gentiles. Or it is not only the Jews who are the privileged few in this issue. And the man who's going to change all of this is that man of Tarsus, who is going to be given a special task that you are an apostle to the Gentiles. Because Gentiles had become a problem. Several questions were being raised. You see, okay, if for sure, as we Jews who have accepted Jesus, there's a few who did, because Peter preached to the Jews of the diaspora, and many of them were converted, including Stephen. Stephen was a Jew of a diaspora who had come for a festival in Jerusalem. And he was converted by the preaching of Peter. There was no Gentiles there as such. Those who appeared as Gentiles were already Jews in naturalization. God-fearers, like some of those blacks who are carrying the cross, they were already, the Ethiopic was asking, why can't I be baptized? The Ethiopian was not asking to be baptized into Christianity, baptism. He was in a transition to become a Jew. You see, there were so many steps to become a Jew. Yes, circumcision, what have you, and then baptism. And so he had one more leg to go. It is baptism, and to become a Jew. And so the biggest argument at that time was, if we were to include the Gentiles, then the Gentiles must follow the procedure of, first of all, becoming Jews first, and then Christians. So that was the biggest argument between Paul and the other apostles. Paul insisted you don't need to become a Jew in order to become a Christian. It is actually a Jew who needs to become a Christian quickly. And so there was tension all over. Wherever on this planet of ours, nothing can happen without controversies. Controversies are part and parcel of our existence. Immediately at that very time when Jesus was going back, bidding them farewell, you see, leaving, they asked him a question. Now you are going. Are you going to give the kingdom back to Israel? You read the book of Acts chapter 1. It will show you that. That means the whole work of Jesus, you see, what he did. I was at Heidelberg University, and every presenter was saying, Jesus the master teacher, Jesus the master teacher, because we don't want to say anything which is negative about Jesus. But my thesis was, Jesus could be a master teacher, but due to circumstances, he did not convince the people he was teaching. Seriously, teachers have evaluation techniques, isn't it? Yes. We don't evaluate them usually or primarily by how many degrees they have, or how well and smartly they dress. We judge them primarily, especially where I come from the results of how many A's, how many B's, and how many C's. If D's and C's, for example, in your 4, exceeds the A's and the B's, nobody will praise that teacher. Are you following me? Yeah, but that's the way, humanly speaking, we evaluate things. You see, by results. And so the argument was, could you employ Jesus as you are in your school as a teacher after even 3.5 years of talking to those fishermen? You see, the fishermen, they were not brilliant scholars that they are asking questions. That's why you see that they hardly asked anything. You see, they were fishermen, and the others were jitterbuggers, you know. This John and James, they were just jitterbugging, you know, street fighters and so on and so forth. Nathaniel was perhaps a charcoal burner because he was cutting trees of some type, you see. And then, so Jesus was not facing a very brilliant group that who will take him to task. Hope it was the opposite. I wish he faced a very brilliant group, but that was not his choice. And so we have these fishermen only fired by one element. When shall he declare himself a king so that we can eat? Period. It is after 30 years, Gospels are going to be written 35 years after Jesus' ascension. There was no typist who is writing whatever you are reading in those Gospels. I'm teaching you. You see? They were passed on orally for almost, actually epistles were written fast before we did the Gospels. Fine. And so the argument came now around here. The Jews were looking for their kingdom. Even after the resurrection, our man is invincible. No, nothing can now touch him. Rome tried, and the power of the grave could not keep him there. Sure enough, he is the right Messiah. Now they speak. But the definition of the phrase had not changed yet. It is going to be that indomitable Jew of diaspora who is going to write the entire theology of the cross. And then the disciples, even including Peter and others, they will start to copy him and understand what Jesus was here for. It is not easy. Don't think that things were automatic. Things don't become that automatic when they are so crucial and they are groundbreaking. It was a situation which is very hard. And so the early church under James, the brother of Jesus, was debating, should we allow Gentiles to become church members? No. Jesus was sent to the lost sheep of Israel. You see, they were quoting that statement. Until the coming of Paul of Tarsus. And God entrusted him a special task of the Gentiles. God came at the time he came because he had already become, to a certain extent, a universal God. There was no Jesus would have come to die when he's still a homestead God. Whom was he going to die for? In Abraham's homestead. You read the book. It will show you everything. In Abraham's homestead, what was it and he comes to die for sinners. Then he moves by exodus from a homestead God to a national God now. And he will stay on Zion for a very long time. You see, until he will break loose. You see, at a very highly costed, price of emotions, disappointments, and questions like Habakkuk asking his justice. You see? And then in Babylonia, God attained a full universal God. He graduated. You see? Homestead, national God. That's why when he was a national God, he said, I'm the God of Israel. Isn't it? Yes. But from that time, if you read Deuteronomy Isaiah, he will tell you that the whole world look unto me. There's no any other God except me. Turn unto me all the ends of the earth, and you will be saved. So we have now a universal God talking. Similarly, the time of redemption had come. It is a step to take. God did not just say, now let me go and die. It took a brilliant man whose brain appears once in 100 years, Apostle Paul, when he said, at the fullness of time. Yes, at his own fullness of time. After going through all the steps, now for those who have been able to get the book, before you struggle with chapter 1, which says the history of Yahwism, please go to the chapter which will guide your heads very quickly. It is written, God marches to universalism. You see, it will show you. You see, vortex. God marches to universalism. Before those steps to universalism could take place, there was no way he could have come and died. God is not controlled by time and space. It is you who see, 2,000 years, it is too long. But that's not God's reckoning. He is not controlled by time and space. He does not know limitation in time. Because our heads, which are controlled by limitation, we cannot understand what eternity is all about. So does it mean when I live forever and ever and I decided to marry at 2 billion years, I will be in a hurry? You see that? Yes. Somebody will say, why are you in a hurry? 2 billion years here. You are here forever and what? And forever. Now look at this. When the fullness of time came, immediately God came. He is already a universal God. And he has a task to handle, to bring the Gentiles who did not belong to the Commonwealth. Because God's way of doing things, he particularizes in order to universalize. Yes, that's no way that's why you have never seen him somewhere on the clouds preaching. And you ask, who are you preaching? I am Yahweh preaching to the whole world. No. He particularizes points. Slowly, particularizes here, preach there, preach over there. You see, in order to universalize. The problem came, the church, the would-be church, by the way, because by that time it was just a movement, debated itself out in the upper room. For some of you who have visited the upper room, it is a historical house. You see? Yeah. I even wonder how those people were living there at 120. It is only a story building. You see, down and then up. But they were squeezed there because they knew their master is coming back anytime. Anytime. He's coming back. The angels told them, as you saw him go, that's the way you will see him come back, isn't it? Hey, what does that mean? He can even be here tomorrow. So please don't scatter. Don't scatter. Don't go away. Stay here in the upper room where they had the Holy Communion. They sold all their belongings, feeding each other over there. You see, as you people, you are feeding us in this camp meeting, isn't it? Yes, we come all the way from anywhere and we sit here and eat. You see, yes, and that's what it was even at that time. People sorrowed until they became so poor. And God wished them to scatter until he shook the boat so that they scatter. You see, but they were there seated waiting despite the repeated warning. The day and the time, it is only my Father in heaven who knows. But they still resisted it. They still resisted all that, my dear friends. A human being is a dangerous animal. Don't think that you have too easy with him or with her.